All right, everybody. It is the Thick Boy Hours podcast. It is me, Dodgy Yeti, Chris Jones, aka C Unit, Q, aka Short Round, and we're back for what I think this is episode 6 or 7. Um, there was a secret one that was recorded for the last scheduled podcast, but yours truly screwed the pooch on that one, and uh, my settings for sound were not good, and you couldn't hear every other word that I said. Um, but there's been quite a few things, some big trips that's happened with everybody. Me and Q, we ended up out in Las Vegas for about a week. Uh, Chris, he traveled out to Cali, right? For a
Yep.
week.
Good old LA for about 4 or 5 days.
Yep. So he was out there. He was out in Cali. We got we had plenty of things to go over with all of those. Um, to kick it off with something kind of funny. My first stream since being back from Vegas after not feeling like complete doo doo. Uh, Me and a few of my friends were going through rating all the bird Pokemon, and the Pokemon that started it all off, that Q and one other friend were like, he's an amazing Pokemon. Chris just so happened to not have the same opinion on. Tell
It's
me
not
how
Corviknight.
tell me how you feel about Doduo, Chris.
Oh, that's fair.
In my humble opinion, I think Doduo and Dodrio designs kind of cheeks. Um, I'm a Skarmory fan. I like
Uh,
I like the metal type, the flying type together, the mixture. I think he looks cool. He has a
Then love
different design.
Corviknight.
He has a different design in a couple games.
Yeah.
And some designs are better than others, but I'm not a the Pokemon Doduo and Dodrio don't bother me. Like the moves they get, try attack and all that stuff's kind of cool.
Tri Attack is
But
so cool.
the design, like, kind of looks like a dandelion flower, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll say this. Now that we've went through all of the bird Pokemon, Skarmory is definitely not as low on my list as I thought he was. But I started out so strong, I had to keep the energy that the entirety of that stream. But um there's definitely a lot worse bird Pokemon. And Skarmory,
Unpheasant.
Unpheasant, yes, absolutely. Bombardier. But like we talked about too, towards the end, I think that if Skarmory had an evolution, or even a pre-evolution, or a uh, regional variant,
He just
I
feels
think
unfinished a little bit.
yes, I think that could totally change how I feel about Skarmory. But what do you
Yeah.
think about Corviknight, dude? I thought for sure you were coming in hard with some Corviknight hate.
No, Corviknight's all right to me. I just don't like Doduo's design. Like I
Yeah,
said, I like metal Pokemon. So when they introduced him in Gen 2, I thought that was really cool. I was the guy trying to get this trying to con somebody into let me trade him my Onyx with the metal coat or whatever attached, so I get my Steelix. And
yep.
I was on the steel train, steel and fire. So my Cyndaquil starter and as many steel Pokemon as I can get. And Corviknight's cool. I'm
So,
just not a Doduo fan, man. I will say he's not my least favorite bird Pokemon. I know that. I don't like have every bird Pokemon memorized. I'd have to
Yeah.
look at the list, but I can tell you Doduo is not my least favorite. I just don't like the way he looks.
Yes.
Dodrio I do like better than Doduo design wise.
Yeah.
so with the final four that we ended in like our high tier, our S tier. I want to get your opinions on what you think of each one of them, and which one you would rank at. Oh, which bird Pokemon does Chris give an S tier to? Because we got Yveltal, which won overall, was the best bird Pokemon. That was my S tier pick. And then we had
Togekiss. Second
Togekiss.
place.
Togekiss second place. Then we had Decidueye third. Then we had Surfetch fourth, and then Corviknight was our agreed on honorary fifth place S tier.
Is a Vettel's actual type bird?
He is a bird Pokemon. He is based off of a bird. He is a bird.
He's bird-esque. It's kind of the same thing we did with Togekiss, where if somebody wanted to argue with me that Togekiss isn't a bird, I don't know how strongly I could argue against that, but he was bird enough to be in the bird club today.
Yeah,
Or
like
that day.
it wasn't just flying types. It's like, hey, Chatot is a bird, Vespiquen is not, but they're both flying types, so we give it that Chatot's on the list and Vespiquen is not.
If we are counting the ones you just listed as your top 4 or 5, however many you listed, I'm gonna have to be in the Togekiss camp for
Okay.
um, a real specific reason. And hold on, I can't read that from here. It's in pink highlighter.
You got them old man eyes. You got to get up close.
Yeah. Okay. Um, out of all the ones you had listed, whether they're bird-esque or not, Togekiss is the most useful for team battles. When I first started doing the Pokemon articles for lordsofgaming.net about the double battles, um, I would say a lot of the stuff at that time, obviously it's different. More games have come out since, but Togekiss was extremely used, and like I'd say probably 90% of teams that played in the VGC tournaments and stuff like that were using Togekiss for the Tailwind and all the stuff as a support Pokemon. It was on every team. Um, Out of all the ones you have listed that you just mentioned, Surfetch I think would probably be my second choice because he is used. He was used more so after Togekiss. I think he might be used some in Scarlet and Violet maybe, but Evidol's obviously a legendary Pokemon, really fucking cool. He out of all the ones listed, he's my personal favorite. But if we're going based off non-bias, most useful,
No,
I
this
personally
is a full biased. What's your favorite?
oh my favorite's a Vettel, but if I'm going non-biased list, it's definitely Togekiss.
Yeah,
Just
the
for
way
battle prowess alone and all, just the amount it was used in these tournaments and stuff was outrageous numbers.
yeah. If we continue to do them, which I think we are planning on doing, the next one we're gonna do is household pets. Like what Pokemon would equate to a
I
household pet.
wanna rethink that one because that is a lot. That
It's a long
includes.
list, dude. That's why I
Why don't
said
we
like
just go with
cats
dogs
and
again?
dogs.
Yeah, because
But
dogs was the one that I said.
I started going
Yeah,
through it, man.
household pets is yeah. Think of every one that had a household pet or ally, like you, Mr. Mime, Mr. Rhyme, all that stuff is used in the anime series. Obviously, the newest one that has the two kids after they did Ash.
Yep.
They're not necessarily household pets, but their main base is on a ship, like a flying ship. So I would consider the Pokemon on the flying ship household pets as well, and they're
Yeah.
not actual like dogs or cats.
Yeah.
So
They had
that's a
a
big category.
they had a whole video on Pokemon's YouTube. I mean, it's probably still up, but it was like about a Slugma who like his whole thing is he just goes around the vents in the house and keeps the house warm. So like he's
He's a
kind of a
household pet.
household pet, you know? So, but yeah, I would be down to just bring it down to like cats and dogs. That way we've got a little bit of a longer list and that. But the way that I'm going about it is if I feel like Togekiss was almost the top one for me just because I used it so much in what would that have been? Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And I just loved metronome is one of those silly things that I love to use. And watching a Togekiss bust down a roar of time on your cousin when you guys are doing a battle is awesome.
Yeah.
But enough about our tier list. We got a lot of games to talk about, dude.
Yes, we do. Vegas, not a whole lot to be brought up on ours end of anything. So we're gonna hop right into outside of we did go to Pawn Stars. We bought some of the brand new Pokemon set, the Team Rocket one, and I pulled a Secret Art Misty and Psyduck. I do not have that thing around me right now, or else I'd show it. But that was pretty sick. And Hell's Kitchen gave me the shits.
Hell's Kitchen is good though.
Yeah,
Definitely go to Hell's Kitchen.
but that's pretty much the rundown for Vegas for us. But yeah, so let's go on to a little bit further west, and we'll go to Cali with Chris. How's the weather out there?
You'll be shocked to know it was actually colder in Cali than it is in Indiana. So it was probably 63 to 68 the entire trip.
Oh, that would have been fucking awesome.
But trip was absolutely amazing. I'll keep the story as short as possible. Met a whole bunch of people. I don't know who's going to watch this in the future, but I've always been a PAX East guy. I like interviewing the developers there. We can go from interview to interview to interview, lots of content to put on the website, YouTube for developer interviews, stuff like that. They know who we are. They expect us to be there. We had a developer from Ocean Drive Studios. I know you guys aren't big into the turn-based genre, but there's a turn-based game called Lost Eidolons. I reviewed it for the website. Currently been in early access for Lost Eidolons Veil of the Witch, second game in the series, smaller style game, while they work on, I assume, another bigger one. We had an interview with them in 2023, and then for the first game, 2024, we also interviewed them again. We had an interview set up. The main guy we talked to before wasn't going to be there. The guy took a red-eye flight from, I assume he lives in Japan, from Japan or wherever he lives, wasn't going to be there. As soon as we got accepted for our interview, he booked a red-eye flight to make sure he was there for our interview. His name is Hyunju Kim. He knows me and Lord Cognito by name. So just the respect from all these smaller developers. Sometimes there's big people there too. It just depends. Recent years, it's been smaller. However, this year in 2025, there was World of Warcraft Anniversary, the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering panel, which we talked about a couple times before, was there. Ben Starr, the voice for Final Fantasy 16's Clive, was the host. Real cool thing, revealed had a shirt on under another shirt, and when it came time to reveal Clive's Final Fantasy card, he fucking took his shirt off and revealed the front had the Clive, and then it's a flip card, so the back had like the back part of the card. Absolutely amazing. Ben Starr's awesome, but I've been a PAX guy, so going into this event, Lord Cognito was like, "This is where essentially paraphrase. This is where the big boys play. L.A. Summer Games Fest, Xbox Showcase. This is where it's at." I said, "Okay, I'll take your word for it. We'll see what happens." So get there. The state of play was the day before I went, which I missed, but we'll talk about those games shortly. So I get there Thursday, meet up with the team. Got a little game plan, stuff like that. And then Friday, we went to Summer Games Fest, Jeff Keighley show, seen a whole bunch of cool stuff we'll talk about. Afterwards, I went to the IO Interactive, got to hang out with, Summer Games Fest. First, go rewind. After the Summer Games Fest show, I hung out with Ben Starr, the guy I just mentioned, voice actor for Verso from Expedition 33. He's voice actor for a character in Final Fantasy Tactics. He's a voice actor, I believe, for a character persona, maybe not. He has a shitload of voice acting credits, getting more by the day. Um, he's also in the TV series You on Netflix. For all the females out there, I know probably watch that fucking show on Netflix, but he's in the TV series You. Real cool guy. Talked to him. Talked about Magic. Talked about X-Wizard 3. And he's like, yeah, well, Magic stuff's cool. We'll see what happens. And literally, like the next morning, they released a Magic commercial that he shot. It was hilarious because he made it seem like he was done with Magic advertising stuff like that. So that commercial was kind of funny. Then for Island Interactive after that, got to hang out. We've seen more stuff. It was like the 007 stuff, which we'll talk about slightly. Hitman. Um, Small event. It was all right. Cool performances and stuff towards the end of the show. Got to hang out with, talk to Destin Gary, formerly of IGN for the first time. He's was with IGN for like 14 years and recently went independent on his own. Real cool guy, gets a lot of flack within the gaming community. However, I think Destin's awesome. Hung out with Destin Gary. You can see from, like I said, from the pictures. Lord Cognito did like a little interview about what we've seen. Hollywood Walk of Fame. I seen one name I knew in that area. It was Vin Diesel, so I took a picture with the Vin Diesel star. Went back to the hotel, and that's where the work really starts. I do write for the site, however, my title is community manager, so I manage all the social media, all that stuff. So networking is a big thing, and I'm talking about hanging out with Jason Ronald, the guy that designed the Series X and S. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure he designed the new Xbox handheld, or had a hand in working with Asus ROG Ally because they have a partnership with them, which we'll talk about. But he's the wizard of Xbox. He got a real long wizard beard and everything. You've seen the pictures with me. He's in all my articles that I do at the end of the year. Talked to him about a few different things. He's a big Kefka fan from Final Fantasy VI. So we talked about the Kefka card, stuff like that. I want to try to get all the different Kefka arts and send him like a framed, kind of like what you did for Skags for Nido King, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
But I want to send him this little picture frame with all the different Kefka arts. I think it'd be cool. Talk to. I'd say it's the biggest person the first night, but a lot of different content creators, people from Last Stand Media on Sacred Symbols, a whole bunch of random people. Ben Starr, other Expedition 33 voice actors were there. Just making all these different connections that's going to help further lordsofgaming.net. Myself making sure my face is out there. The next day, Saturday, had breakfast, and then we've seen people like Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox, Phil Spencer, head of Microsoft Gaming. The only person above Phil Spencer is the CEO of Microsoft. So two big connections. Aaron Greenberg, the leader of marketing, stuff like that. Saturday, I went to IGN Live. Okay, there we go.
Discord went crazy.
Saturday went to IGN Live. Interview Lost Haven, another turn-based tactical game, which seems to be a pattern with me. It's a game that came from like the board game. If you ever heard of Gloomhaven or whatever, but it came from that board game. Talked to him, interviewed him, played the game. That was cool. I didn't get into the festivities on Saturday. They have a Summer Games Fest, Day of the Devs or Play Days, whatever it's called. I didn't get in that. The rest of the team did. So I am a little salty about that, but it was my first year in LA. My face wasn't known. Now it is. So if we go back to LA next year, we will see what happens with that. But the plan is to get into it. So I went back to the hotel, wrote that up, met back with the team. A lot more people at that hotel. The BET Awards had events leading up to Monday, which was the actual award ceremony. So a whole bunch of people and stuff. I met Matt Barnes, for all the NBA fans out there. He's also on a podcast, Steven Jackson, Up in Smoke. He's a really cool guy. Talked to him for a quick second. He was there with his kids. I don't want to bother him too much. Talked to a whole bunch of content creators still making those connections. Sunday was Xbox Community Ran Showcase. Xbox canceled the Fan Fest this year. They probably won't do anymore. We'll have to wait and see. But it was ran by Ben Kenobi, and I'm sure there will be a video thing at some point, which you can look it up on my Twitter or probably Seasons Gaming YouTube. I'm not sure. There'll be video clips and stuff like that, and you can hear about Ben Kenobi's story. But short version, he is a very artistic guy that has autism, and he put on this community fan fest himself with help from other people within the community. A really awesome event. They end up staying up pretty much all night the night before, get everything set up. Jason Ronald, the Wizard of Xbox, Aaron Greenberg were there. They gave away some stuff. They did a panel with Paris Lilly, Danny Pena, Danny's wife, and sorry, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. And Khalif Adams. Four great, amazing content creators, known for different things. Danny Pena's in the Podcast Hall of Fame. Him and his wife are working in partnership with the Wu-Tang Clan's game for marketing and stuff like that, which is awesome. We've seen lots of cool stuff at the Xbox Showcase. Last day, they were giving away these coins, which at some point I'll show the coin or whatever. Probably next podcast, I got to go through my stuff and find them. And they had people get up on stage, tell their stories of why they game, whether they play Xbox or whatever. King David pushed me up on stage, even though I wasn't going to get up there and take time away from the other people. King David gave me like a Don King intro, pretty much talked about how awesome I am, which is always cool to hear other people talk about your feats or your accolades. And then I told them why I thought it was cool. The whole community coming together, no matter where we gamed, what we played, to see a genuine reaction for people who love games. I thought that was one of my favorite moments. A big thing for this trip for me is getting a lot of these people I've messaged before to be in community articles in the year, or I've interacted with Twitter, they never responded, stuff like that. But a lot of these people I met, I got to sit down, have positive conversations, not console war stuff, actual intellectual conversations, and to be treated as a peer or an equal. That is what mattered to me with this trip, to be able to be in this space with these people, prove my significance within this space. I'll say it, I call myself the Michael Jordan of LogNet. People call me that as well. I don't think I'm like this amazing writer or anything like that, but to be treated as equal, that was my big takeaway from this event. And probably we'll go back next year. So a big event for me, lots of making connections, talking industry, keeping stuff on the down low that I know. But I talked to Lord Cognito after I kind of had a day or two to soak it in. I was going to make a little video and post it on my social media about my thoughts, which I will at some point. But I told Cog, I said, I was a PAX guy, man. I said, if I get into Summer Games Fest play days next year, I said, I'll have to bend the knee and I'll be a Summer Games Fest guy. So we'll see what happens. I said, I'm leaning towards Summer Games Fest being better. And it's better for the future of the website and building the brand, because the big names are always at these events. Like I said, the Phil Spencers, the Sarah Bonds, Aaron Greenbergs, Jason Ronalds, Shuhei Yoshida, the big PlayStation guy was at. He doesn't work for PlayStation anymore, but he was the big PlayStation guy. He was at the summer days I didn't get into. Tim Schafer, Mark Cerny, he's kind of like he's a big PlayStation executive, but he's kind of like the clear eyes, dry eyes type of person when he talks.
Clear eye, dry
Matt Booty was there, the head of Xbox's first party. It's just all these big time people. I got to talk to a lot of them. I didn't get to talk to the ones at summer play days. So hopefully next year it'll be different. But that was the short version of the trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm
And your articles are good, dude. Don't sell yourself short. You'd be killing it with the articles.
I'm glad that you got to enjoy your time out there, and like I don't know everybody in the space like you do. Like I mainly know like fucking like YouTubers and stuff like that, personalities like that. But like I seen that one of the people that you came across was Jake Baldino, and I don't know
Oh,
how.
jeez.
I
I
don't know.
forgot about fucking Jake. Yeah, I met Jake at PAX 2024, and I forget. I think it was at the hotel where most of the congregation was. The hotel they stayed at's where all the big names and stuff stay at. And so yeah, met Jake's a good friend of the Iron Lords, so got to meet and hang out with Jake Baldino. There's so many pictures and so many people I fucking forgot. Like I feel bad I can't remember Danny Pena's wife's name off the top of my head because she's an amazing person too. But there's a lot of people I met. Yeah, Jake's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I don't. And that's what like I seen that and I was like, oh damn, that's cool as hell. You got to see meet up with somebody like that and just chill and do whatever. But I don't know, it seemed like a really really cool time though. So I'm glad you got to enjoy yourself while you were out there and doing your thing.
It was like I talk about how fun it was, but it was definitely a lot of work. There was not a moment uh, I wasn't on my phone on social media. You know, I run the websites, Twitter. Um, that finally convinced them to set up the Blue Sky, so now I'm running the Blue Sky as well. All their social media, 90% of the time, if something's posted, it's probably be me on there tagging devs, making sure sharing stuff out, stuff like that. So they, I did one interview myself, but they did a lot of interviews at the Summer Play Day, so Um, you'll see me posting it on my social media as well over the next multiple days. I think we're only doing like 2 pieces a day just to kind of space it out, but we got a lot of stuff coming.
Oh, I bet after going out there, imagine you guys got quite a bit of stuff in the works.
Yes, sir.
But so what was your favorite part about being out there? Whether it was just like the area, the weather, fucking one panel or the other panel, or getting to see a bunch of the magic stuff. What'd you enjoy the most?
Speaking, I'll talk of the Magic stuff real quick. We actually had they had a Magic interview Monday because Magic was at the Summer Games Fest stuff that I didn't get into. They had a
Oh,
Magic interview with I can't remember who they had it with. It wasn't Gavin Verhey, according to Addict when I asked him who he's had an interview with, but they had an interview with Magic people. I got the Sephiroth Cloud starter deck because they felt bad I didn't get into the Summer Games Fest Play Day stuff, so they gave me one of the Sephiroth Cloud starter kits that they got. The hotel I stayed in, if you've seen on social media, there's a big mural of like Cloud and Sephiroth on like the side of this hotel in LA. When I first got there, that was my hotel, and the heads were the only thing that was done. And by the time I left Monday morning, they had it finished. So, um, but like I said, my favorite part is just the networking with people. I the last day I was there, we'll just talk about Sunday night. I was waiting for Lord Cognito because he got into stuff that the other Iron Lords did not. He got into behind closed door stuff. He got to play the ROG Ally. He got the it's called ROG Xbox Ally, and then ROG Xbox Ally X because they're partnered with that Microsoft Xbox or whatever. He got to play that. He played Gears Reloaded, which the beta is going on this weekend. You can play it on all platforms: PlayStation, Xbox, PC. Because we've talked about the Xbox's multi-platform strategy, but he got to play that and some other stuff I can't remember if I'm allowed to say or not, so I don't want to go into details on certain things. But I know um, as stuff gets posted, I can talk about it. But he got to go behind closed door stuff, whereas nobody else did. So me, King David, and Lord Addict, we stayed at the community showcase, which ran past just watching the initial show. They gave out these cool coins that Ben Kenobi makes, like I mentioned. We all went out, had a big meal somewhere with all the people that didn't go to that event. Um, the content creators and just being on a level of just being able to sit down at the hotel talking to it started off me and one guy that knows us. We are talking, and then obviously more people congregate. But to see like Paris Lilly, a guy that's hosted Xbox Extended Showcase in the past, he's done stuff with Flight Simulator for Xbox. Um, he's a big content creator. I don't want to call him an Xbox guy. He gets a lot of flack for Xbox guy. But Paris Lilly is a big content creator. To have him just come up, sit down, talk to us, talk about stuff that he knows, what he thinks is going to happen. Destin Legary of IGN, like I said, he came up, sat down with us, talked to him. A guy that's never interacted with me on social media until I don't know if it's because he worked for IGN. It probably is not. He probably just didn't realize who I was. But like people to come up, sit down, and talk to me like an equal. Granted, I'm nowhere near equal to Paris, Destin, Khalif Adams. To be able to talk to these people just about different stuff within the industry was probably my favorite part. I have no problem networking. A lot of people don't, but I try to follow Lord Cognito around as much as possible, and it's like having a toddler, letting go of the toddler's hand, and then having to find the toddler because Lord Cognito, he knows everybody and everybody knows him. So trying to follow him everywhere, talk to people. I had this one big guy asked me if I was going to Gen Con, which I'm probably not, unless I can get in for free. But try to get me to go to Gen Con and just meeting all these people, talking as equals, being treated as an equal, more so than a less than person, and not being like a big time. That's the word I'm looking for. Not getting big time by some of these people. Khalif Adams, somebody I've never talked to on like I've interacted with him, but like he's never really responded. To talk to him in person, shake my hands, like, hey, let's get a picture, all this stuff. That's my big takeaway, my most enjoyment. Love the showcases. If I had to choose between Xbox Showcase, Summer Games Fest, I will choose the Xbox Showcase just because they showed a lot of things that I like. But the gaming community and being treated as an equal is probably my favorite part from the event.
Yeah. Okay.
Because real quick, because to me, respect's a big thing, and so I know that once they show that, they're gonna remember. They're gonna remember me in some regard, whether they don't exactly remember my name or like, hey, that's one of the lords or whatever from last year. Let's talk to him. Or hey, that's that Chris guy. Let's share his stuff out. Let's invite Chris onto this show. Let's talk to Chris about that. Let's let Chris send Chris this video game code. 'Cause, like it's the same thing with devs. Like there was devs at this. I interacted with devs too, so it's like get my name out there. Let devs do this. We'll have Chris review Final Fantasy Tactics, or maybe Chris can review the ROG Xbox Ally X, whatever. I highly doubt it, but there's that possibility. Just
Man can wait.
that aspect overall.
Any games stick out to you in particular?
There's a bunch of games that stuck out from the shows in particular. Without looking at the list, Final Fantasy Tactics. I've talked about turn-based games all the time. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the most beloved Final Fantasy games, whether it's not. It's touted as people's favorites a lot. Not my personal favorite overall. I love the game, but that's a standout from PlayStation show. Summer Games Fest, they have a Game of Thrones RTS. I'm a big strategy person. Love Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer Yuri's Revenge is probably either top 5 favorite video games of all time if I lump Suikoden series into one, or like top 7. Like it's within the top 7 for sure. So to see a Game of Thrones game, I really like the medieval, the Oblivion looking, the Lord of the Rings looking style games. So to have an RTS of that will be cool to see as long as it's executed well. It's like War of Asteros or something like that, which we'll get into shortly. And then the Xbox show. That's a little different. My favorite moment from the Xbox show, um, they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake and 16 finally coming to Xbox after all these years. Um, my standout was definitely the handheld. I've not had a handheld since PSP. I've bought multiple PSPs as recently as Jordan being open. My last PSP was bought from Jordan. So I do like handhelds. The Switch is the only handheld that I got, even though I prefer playing Pokemon on my TV. So I want to see. I want to play the handheld. However, I have knowledge of potential price, and I think it's going to catch people slightly off guard.
Yeah.
They got an ESO update coming, which is cool. Age of Mythology, but the standout game's probably Clockwork Evolution. Um, that's a trailer I definitely think both of you should watch if you've not watched it.
Quick
Um,
Evolution is good. It looks
just
like it's going to be good.
yeah, In Exile did a fantastic job to see. Um, there's just so much crazy shit going on in this game. It's nuts. For me to shoot Quentin, rewind time so I get my bullets back out of Quentin's body, shoot somebody else, all this stuff that's going on in this game. The trailer that they showed at the whole video they showed at summer at Xbox showcase was absolutely hilarious. There's comedy, everything you could want. But
It
that is
kind of feels
probably
like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's probably my standout game. However, there are multiple great. Oh, before I forget, anime fans, rejoice! Solo Leveling Arise is gonna be on Xbox. A solo leveling anime game, not just on PC, not just on PlayStation, but we actually get it on Xbox. And I don't remember seeing a PlayStation logo on this game. Is it saying it's not going to come to PlayStation? I'm not saying that. I don't remember PlayStation logo. So to have an Xbox get an anime style game in the realm, especially of solo leveling, the most popular anime of 2025. I'm pretty sure it won.
It won Anime of the Year.
Yeah, it won anime of the year. So to see that, I almost forgot. That's why I need to pull up the list. But Solo Leveling, anime fans rejoice.
Heck yeah.
I
Skaggs, if you haven't watched Clockwork Revolution's trailer, it's like if Borderlands met like BioShock Infinite with a bunch of other cool, like, not all the craziness of Borderlands, but more the streamlinedness of BioShock. And with like the cool gimmick, like BioShock had its power gimmicks, your gimmick is you can rewind time and like affect areas with time. So it's pretty sweet.
you know what? I might just go ahead and pull it up and give it a look. See, you said it was Clockwork.
Clockwork
Clockwork
Revolution.
Revolution.
Oh, maybe I'll do it if Opera GX fucking works with me. But there was one that I did. So Chris sent us a list and of all the games on all the panels, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it is a Digimon one, and
Oh boy.
Digimon Story Time Stranger.
That's my big one that I want to talk about.
I haven't looked into it at all yet, but I am hopeful and not hopeful all at the same time because uh is it turn based like the last one that they tried to do?
Most
I
likely.
don't know much about it, but it's from the State of Play, which I have pulled up. So let me see if I can find something.
Ooh, I definitely see the BioShock vibes,
Yeah.
which that definitely, I mean, is cool.
Yeah.
Digimon Time Stranger is an adventure RPG.
Oh.
See,
Oh
you have
my.
my attention more.
And I can't remember one of the fellas I watch on YouTube. His name's Karn EX. He does all kinds of Digimon. Like he does a Digimon video every day. He's crazy with it. But I think he was talking about this is going to have the most amount of Digimon ever in a game too.
Is that even taken into account Digimon Masters Online?
Well, probably not. But the most official from an official Digimon game, because I don't think Digimon Masters Online is official anymore. We lost him again.
It's not official? No. That can't be true. We've spent way too much time and effort into that fucking game for it to not be official. It'll always be official. I don't care what anybody says.
That's true. Too much money.
Too much money, too much time.
And two
Oh,
different accounts, dude. When they said, "Oh, we're shutting the server down that I spent all my money on," I was just like, "You know what? That's okay. I'll spend more money on a different account because I'm an idiot, I guess."
yeah. You know what? It's fair enough. I'm pretty positive I did the same. Dude, the editing of like your gun and everything, that's pretty cool.
That's
I love
really cool.
that. Is he sitting in the other channel?
Oh, I'll check. I'll make sure. He should be able to get in here though. He is. Sorry about that, Chris.
Yeah,
Stupid internet.
this game looks pretty sweet. Being it seems like you have like one main gun and you just edit that to however you want it to be.
I think you can craft pretty much anything. I think is the gist. And you can make modifications to your weapon however you please.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
If you want, I can go down the list and name all the games that were shown, and we could just
Uh,
kind of pick and choose.
like I say, I don't necessarily know if you got to go through and name off every one of them, but because there
For
are
the
an
people at
ass
home,
load of them. But like any of them that are stand out to you that you're like, I am excited about that.
007 First Light. I know
That's yep.
Yeah,
If King David watches this, he is not a fan. He does not like the character specifically because of who's playing 007. He thinks 007 needs to be like, the Sean Connery, the Daniel
Yes.
Craigs, the ladies' man, so to speak. So he's
I'll
not a
agree
fan
with
of
him
double oh
on that a
007.
little
yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
I think that they make him too much of a cocky, but I also kind of took this as like this is his first, maybe this is the mission or the missions that make
Yeah.
him the suave guy, you know? Cuz everybody maybe has a rebellious start, but
And you
I'll
kind of
agree
have to
with him on that.
establish a new character too. Like you can't have Sean Connery and Daniel Craig and all those 007s for however long.
Why not, dude?
yeah. They got to rotate at some point. I'll give you that. Okay, so it's like it's still turn based, but it's like it's not like a tactics game like the last game is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also have some of these I don't even know what they are to be honest, but the Silent Hill.
Yep.
Finally, you Silent Hill fans out there can rejoice. I don't remember playing Silent Hill. I know that I did, but when you've played as many video games like we have, it's hard to remember everything. But Silent Hill, the big takeaway. I'm listing just the PlayStation games first. The big PlayStation showcase game is, like I said earlier, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles. People have been asking for. I don't mind playing old games. Like if I had Tactics and I wanted to go back and play, I would just go back and play it. I do it once or twice a year. I go back and play old games on my PlayStation 2. But to see Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles come to modern consoles, they're going to have the remaster version available to be played and then the original version. So you'll be able to play whichever one you want. You want the old experience, you can play that. You want the new one, you can play the remaster. But Ben Starr, guy I hung out with, he voices a character in this game. There's voice acting, really cool. Neo 3 for those fans. I'm excited to play Neo 3. Metal Gear, Solid, Delta, Snake Eater is going to be cool. I'm a strategy, stealth, tactical type of person. That's why I like sniper elite games, stuff like that.
Sniper Elite's fucking amazing.
I'm not a Astrobot doesn't bother me. I've not like a huge Astrobot stan, but Astrobot fans get 5 new levels, which I know they're going to really enjoy. Astrobot was game of the year. Uh, Pragmatica remerges. We actually interviewed these developers, and the gameplay looks really good. I'm a big VR guy, so we got Thief VR, which is going to be cool. I don't know how that's going to work. They also announced Deadpool VR, which we'll get to in a little bit.
That'd be
Mortal
crazy.
Kombat fans will be happy. They got Mortal Kombat, another Ninja Gaiden, the Bloodstained people, the Castlevania spiritual successor, Bloodstained, the Scarlet Engagement is coming. Like you guys mentioned, Digimon Story, the meme game Baby Steps, which everybody talks about, is yeah. That's all I got to say about Baby Steps. Hiragami. There's a lot of uh, the different Gami games, so to speak. And a lot of people like this game. Beautiful Katamari. Do you guys remember that game? The thing where you roll around, you roll
Yeah,
over
you
all
roll
this
the big
shit,
ball.
you get bigger. It's kind of to me, these games, Beautiful Katamari, Hiragami is kind of like a relaxing type of game. And we've talked about this in the past about cozy gaming. We talked for like half a podcast about it. Um,
This
I
sort of
remember
the
Skaggs.
Sea game looks like a cozy game too.
I
Sword of
do
the
not
Sea.
remember what Sword of the Sea is.
Yep.
Yeah,
It kind of gives me the oh my goodness, I can't remember. I don't remember that game's name. But yes, just it has that cozy game kind of feel.
yeah, like he's just
Then
surfing around everywhere on a sword. That's what he's doing. That's what I've seen so far. Like there's been no combat or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just
Like
it
an
That's
looks cool.
exploring game.
That's all for the PlayStation Showcase. A lot of those games are coming to Xbox too, but PlayStation showing in their showcase. They haven't really showed big first party games like God of War, Spider Man, et cetera, in a while. So I'm assuming the next PlayStation Showcase or event will probably show some stuff. Who knows? I know they're still waiting on Wolverine. They've not heard anything on Wolverine for a while. But then Summer Games Fest, we were in a big theater. We got to see Hideo Kojima, uh, Death Stranding developer and uh, legendary video game creator. Also, the Sonic creator, which I can't remember his name, that invented Sonic, threw a little stab at Nintendo, which was absolutely hilarious. But Resident Evil 9, like the majority of the population of like these types of fans for Resident Evil, Zombie Killing, Silent Hill, we got to see Resident Evil 9 Requiem trailer or whatever, and we got some behind the scenes look at Resident Evil 9. They've seen gameplay, and I can't talk about it.
Damn.
Liza, well, I was trying to remember because some of the stuff I can, some that I can't. Liza P.
Mm.
Overture came out. Souls-like fans, I know you like Liza P. Overture came out the same day as Summer Games Fest. I'm pretty sure it like released that day. We've
Yeah.
seen some Wu Tang. Everybody knows rap, hip hop. That's my genre of music that I cherish more so than others. And to see Wu Tang come out with Rise of Deceivers, going to be a fun game. Um, I know Danny Pena and his wife will be doing a lot of going around with Ghostface Killer, so that will be cool. The big takeaway from this event, there's a couple other games I like, but the big takeaway was Game of Thrones War of Westeros is the name of the game. Now that I have it pulled up, like I said, games that look in the realms of like Lord of the Rings style, the old school, the medieval stuff like that. I'm a big fan of those. Big fan of RTSs. I've never watched Game of Thrones, so I don't care about your season 8 or whatever season everybody complained about. I don't care. What I care about is RTSs and Game of Thrones RTS, and I will play it. And we didn't see a lot. We've seen in-game engine stuff. We didn't see gameplay, but I have a feeling the game's going to do great and be fine. I'll be playing it. Um, Hitman World of Assassination is kind of in conjunction with somehow with the 007 game. Um, Seen that at IO Interactive. Mad Mickelson. Um, a lot of people like Mad Mickelson. I'm kind of salty when it comes to Matt Mikkelsen because Johnny Depp got replaced in the Fantastic Beasts movies. He played Grindelwald, for everybody that remembers that. Johnny Depp was the perfect Grindelwald, so to try to replace him with Matt Mikkelsen, I've not even watched the movie that Mads was in because I am boycotting because it's not Johnny Depp. I'm sure he did a fine job, but he's reprising his role from previous 007 as can't remember the character's name, but he is the elusive target in this Hitman World Assassination game. We've seen gameplay of that. Mortal Shell looks really cool. Death Stranding. The Sonic Racing. Um, we're all Mario Kart fans, right?
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
party
I'll play
game.
some Mario Kart.
How would you feel if you got to play Mario Kart with your Xbox, PC, and PlayStation friends?
I would want it to be Crash Team Racing, but that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're saying Crash Team Racing doesn't exist. How would you feel to be able to play with more people on Mario Kart?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Obviously better, which is where the joke came from. The creator of Sonic, poking jokes at Nintendo for keeping things locked away. The Sonic Team Racing, not Sonic Team. You got me thinking Crash. The Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is cross-platform. I believe it's cross-progression. They got all your favorite Sega characters in it. Ichiban Kazuga from Yakuza series is in it. They have Joker from Personas in this game. Some weird anime chick. I can't remember her name from whatever game she's in. She's very beloved. Like people cheered in the YouTube theater when she popped on the screen as well. Lots of awesome Sega characters are in this game. So it's going to be an excellent game. I'm actually going to buy it and see. But I've not played a team racing game in a while. Mario Kart's pretty big, but I don't have a Switch 2.
No, I think that the racing games, like CTR and Mario Kart and Sonic Racing, are super cool, and I'm surprised that there's not like a little bit more of them out there. But it is also probably the fact that like uh um Mario Kart is so big and everything that they just kind of already get the win. But Hatsune Miku is the girl that he's talking about.
Hatsune Miku's gonna be in the game?
Yeah, and that you already fucking win a ass load of people over Mario Kart just by having Hatsune Miku in there.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. They're gonna sell lots of copies of that game.
Yeah, because a lot of people love her and will just buy anything as long as it involves her.
Yeah. That's yeah, I think that and this may just be me, but I think that racing games, they were so I mean, I remember loving Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart and everything, but they were always like a co-op, like couch co-op game. It
Yeah.
was fun because you had 4 people sitting there together, or 2 to 4 people sitting there together, and you're racing each other and you're actually playing the game. And I think that fondness
Steve from
as...
Minecraft.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I forgot about the Minecraft guy. Yeah.
But I think that the fondness of the racing games like that kind of dwindled as you get like online play, because I think people would rather play like the Forzas and the stuff like that. If you're gonna race.
Oh, absolutely.
The novelty of Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing and all those games is you're sitting there with your friends and you're get to try to specifically mess each other up. It's not necessarily about winning. But now I feel like when you do these online, it just is like, well, I'm just trying to get first place, unless you and just your friends are doing a race. But that's cool. I would definitely probably be into getting that game and playing, especially if you're going to get it, Chris. We don't have a lot of overlapping games, so.
Yeah,
We're
and
supposed to play Fallout together at some point, but
I've been getting on it,
we'll
and
talk
I
about
have
that when
my
we get Xbox.
I got my
Yeah.
private server and everything like that already. I got it all back. So
The last couple games I mentioned real quick, the Lego games is just really popular with people. It doesn't matter if it's Lord of the Rings Lego stuff, Harry Potter, whatever. Lego Voyagers got kind of a big cheer out of the crowd, so I want to note that. A lot of people are looking for this game. I'm not a big horror guy, so like I'm going to play Silent Hill, I'm going to play Resident Evil, but when it comes to horror games, it's just not the genre that makes me jump out of my seat. And the last one, Chronicles Medieval, is a game that all of the Iron Lords are really excited to play. Kind of gives what's the game? I can't think of it. For Honor. It kind of gives like For Honor looking vibes, but it's like it seemed really cool, so I had to mention Chronicles Medieval as well.
okay, yeah.
And the Xbox show. Go ahead. Sorry.
Chronicles Medieval. I just watched the trailer for it. It looked like it was gonna be almost RTSy. It looked like it, but they didn't show in that trailer like any individual combat. So if you got to see like individual combat, I didn't get to see that. It was like just him chilling on top of like a hill with like troops to his back type deal. So I don't know if I got to see as much as what you did or not, but that was kind of the vibes that it gave me. Was almost like it was going to be an RTS. The
Showcase on Sunday. And it wasn't as good as last year's. Last year they like dropped the nuke on just dropped everything. However, big showcase, excellent. I was fine with it. Lots of standout stuff. Outer Worlds 2 is coming. Obsidian is like the goat of video game developers. They have 3 games coming out this year. In Outer Worlds 2, Grounded 2, and
That Grounded 2 looks cool.
it'll come to me. I'll remember it in a second.
So I just watched one, and it's by Game Freak, and it looks good as shit. Beast of Reincarnation.
Okay, hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah, no, that one looks pretty nice and interesting. Spawning vines everywhere to like run around in like this. I don't know if it's a pseudo open world or an open world, and yeah, no, I'm very interested in that. High on Life 2, I seen that. I seen some stuff from that.
A game like that, like we didn't know if there was going to be a second one, but like just the raunchiness of the High on Life game was absolutely hilarious. So that's going to be fun. Just like Outer Worlds 2 is going to be fun. First game was amazing. All these, I'd say 99% of these games are in Game Pass. The Final Fantasy games are not. There might be one or two others, but High on Life 2 is going to be really good. Resonance of Plague Tale Legacy. A lot of people like Plague Tale stuff. That's coming. The ROG Xbox Ally handheld, like I mentioned earlier, my stand up from the show. I knew ahead of time there was going to be some type of hardware. Didn't know what it was. We assumed the handheld because 2 big YouTuber handheld people got flown in, and they arrived at that hotel place where I was hanging out at the night before. So we just assumed it was going to be some type of handheld, and they announced their partnership with Asus ROG Ally with the ROG Xbox Ally handheld S and X. gonna be pricey, so it's
I
gonna
don't.
be a pretty penny.
I bet it will be pricey, but from and from what I understand, because I've been seeing an asshole of the memes, is that like Steam is gonna start allowing Xbox to play like Steam games. I wonder if
On
they're
on the Xbox ROG, like I mentioned in the past, we talked about like the future consoles. I mentioned like there's a potential for future Xbox consoles to be able to switch between the Xbox storefront, Steam storefront.
You
You
called it,
can
dude.
do you can do this on the ROG Ally. You can switch between just the Xbox experience. You can switch to Steam, BattleNet. I'm sure Epic Game Store's on there. Discord. You can switch between all of these, and then they pop up, and it's a full screen experience. So you definitely can play Steam games on this.
And as soon
so
as they implement that, you can do that in consoles too. As soon as that works out, there it
You can
and
play
is.
PlayStation games on your Xbox ROG Ally. So
I love that every possible company that could get together is starting to work together to like bust apart Nintendo's entire like business model of just being the most exclusive, and everybody's just amalgamating into one,
Yep.
and not and they're just like, all right, well, we'll outdo Nintendo just by being non-exclusive for
yeah,
80 to 90% of things. You know, if you want to be exclusive on a couple things, whatever. But like, man, they're even some of their exclusives they're starting to hand out people, and I love it. I think the times for like exclusives on game game consoles or PCs, like how you digest your gaming material, is been ran dry for a while, because I don't know, it to me feels like we're to the point to where a game can't really sell a system. Everybody has just staked their claim on the system that they're gonna get, or they end up getting both just out of being a just wanting both, and whatever games come out for that is the games that you have. I don't really hear a lot of people anymore being like, "Oh, and I gotta go get I gotta go get Xbox, or I gotta go get PlayStation because God of War." It's like, I'll play God of War on PC when it actually comes out or something, or I got a buddy that has PlayStation and I'll play God of War or something.
there's still a small, minute grouping of those types of people, but the I'd say a heavy part of the gaming population within the community is um, allowing people to play their games wherever they want to play them. But there's still the console warring people still do exist, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ever think it won't not exist, but I think it's let's bitch over like the performance of them all, not which games you
Yeah,
are available. I guess is where I want to be at with it. Let's bitch about you know the FPS on each one of the consoles instead of, well, I have God of War, and it's like, well, I have Gears of War and shit like that. Because like back in the day, that was the shit, was like you get an Xbox because you want Gears of War and you want Halo, and only thing I can think of with like place is like PlayStation, and you want God of War. That's the only exclusive that I can think of anymore that's actually worth
technically,
putting into
technically
thought.
Spider Man. But there's some stuff like Tactics Ogre Reborn's on PlayStation. There's games that exist. They're just not in the forefront of people's minds. But yeah, like I said, the seems the overall populations is more about playing wherever they want to play, which is the whole reason
Yeah.
about the handheld being able multiple storefronts. Um, like I said before, I believe the next Xbox will have multiple storefronts on it. I don't think Xbox will ever buy Steam. I believe I
No.
forget the guy's name. I can never remember the Steam guy's name, but I believe he
Oh,
is too likes money too much to sell that type of stuff to Xbox. But yeah, then they have lots of other good stuff too. Blood of Dawnwalker, an excellent vampire game. Um,
Gable.
That looks
I
good.
Gabe.
I remember, yeah, Gabe Newall, right? Newall,
Yeah.
yeah. Blood of the Dawnwalker looked really cool. I played a game back in the day called Vampire, which was really cool, and I played a VR vampire game, which was really fun. Kind of difficult. Obviously, you could just think VR controls of having to sneak up and attack somebody. There's a game that's not on my list that I'll mention because I don't see it as I look through my list. Deadpool VR. I forgot about Deadpool VR. They have a fucking. They announced a cool Deadpool VR game. Just think how funny. I mean, I guess some people might not find him funny, but just think how funny Deadpool is and the aesthetic that Ryan Reynolds brings to the character. And it translated really well into the reveal for the Deadpool VR. So it will be a game I'm definitely going to play. Hopefully, I can get it ahead of time and review it. Um, Super Meat Boy 3D. I'm not a platformer guy. However, Super Meat Boy seemed really intense, really fast paced. So I'm going to try that. Ninja Gaiden 4 for all the Ninja fans out there. Indiana Jones: A Great Circle, Order of Giants, new DLC, Beast of Reincarnation. I think Skaggs mentioned something about Beast of Reincarnation.
Oh yeah, that thing
Um,
looks
Yeah,
super sick,
that looks
man.
good.
Clockwork Revolution, we've talked about. Probably the standout game for many people from the show. It'll be excellent to see how it plays out. I will obviously be playing it. Um, the last few games in Exile's done has kind of been like turn based. The Wasteland games, Wasteland 3 in 2020 maybe was the last one that they had come out. Um, some of the In Exile people also worked on previous Fallout games. So just a little bit of history there. Grounded 2 for people that like those survival style games. Creation,
That game looked pretty
that's
cool.
there. ESO Tales of Tamriel. I'm not naming every game, but ESO Tales of Tamriel is a DLC. Obviously, ESO's got their yearly or bi-yearly DLC, and it was predicated on like creating your own story or something like that. And you need to group up with these people to break down this wall to something. And it kind of reminded me where Fortnite always blows up the map. So it's like, do this to blow up the map in Fortnite or something like that. And then blow up the map and create something completely new. Kind of gave me that type of vibe. So I'm interested to see what that is. Age of Mythology Retold, Heavenly Spear is a new um, hero and class or race or whatever that they're adding to the game. Mentioned several times. RTS fan. I love Age of Mythology, so I'll be playing that. Fallout 76, the Gone Fission DLC. The biggest DLC add-on so far is what I see on social media. I didn't get to interview the devs. I don't know if we did or not, but
You picked the
obviously
perfect time.
they added fishing, so
You
that's a
you picked
thing.
the perfect time to get back in the game because us three will hop in and you won't ever see me doing anything else but going to the fishing spots, dude. That's my favorite thing to do in a game. You put fishing in there, you got me for at least 80 hours.
Fishing seems to be you're
You're
muted,
muted,
Skaggs.
Skeggs.
Fishing seems to be a very popular thing in any game, whether it be a game like Fallout, mini game for like JRPGs, but fishing is very popular for some reason.
And then it looks like they actually have a lot of like really cool fish and like mutant variants of
Yeah.
fish. So I think you'll have a good amount of time fishing.
Yeah. Did we
They
talk
also
about Dying Light,
sorry, go
the
ahead.
Beast?
I skipped over Dying Light, I think.
Okay. Just that's one that stuck out to me just because I played a little bit of Dying Light and I wasn't the biggest fan, but I know a lot of people love that parkour style zombie hunting, you know.
Then
Seems like it's going to sell well.
Soul Leveling Arise
Mhm.
Soul Leveling Arise Overdrive. Anime of the year. Interested to see what you do in this game. If it converts like how the anime plays out, I think it will be real interesting. And it's multiplayer, apparently. I'm pretty sure is what it said. So we would be able to play that one together as well.
That's cool.
I want
Um,
I want something I
but
want more anime games to do is kind of like Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Strikers where you can make your own character. And I don't want
yep.
to always have to play as somebody that's from the anime because as cool as Big Homie is, I would also like to be able to make my own character, have my own powers, and try and be as OP and cool as what I want to make him be.
Yeah.
Question. So we've all watched Soul Leveling, right? All three of us. If you guys, a little bit off topic before we get back into the games, if you guys, as your personal self right now, were to go get rated as the hunter, what do you think your rating would be?
I ain't
Big
got.
time low.
I was gonna say I ain't got no powers. I'm low as shit.
Yeah.
But see, we're converting ourselves to an anime. Like
Okay.
you might have some type of, you might be able to tank or something like that.
We
I think I would at least be a C rank.
that's lowest rank, yeah.
E.
If I'm
E.
remembering right. E, you think you'd be a C? I don't know. If anything, I'd probably be at least or at the very most a D.
And see, that's where it should almost be like somebody else rates you, because
Okay. So what do you rank Quentin, Skaggs?
uh, what kind of powers are you gonna give him? Like, what's his thing? Got to give him a power because if I throw Quentin into a dungeon how he is, yeah, he's right there
I
with
guess
Sung Jin Woo at the start.
um I guess we technically would have to have specials like healing or whatever. Um I think Quentin would be like the old guy, if you know who I'm talking about. He gets his hand cut off in the first dungeon. I think I would give Quentin like
He's a mage, but
along
he uses a sword.
yes.
Okay.
Except Quentin would not use a sword. Quentin would use like
Quentin loves
an axe
magic,
or
so
something like that.
Q loves magic though, so he would definitely be using his magic.
Slinging spells. That sounds sick to me.
And I think Skaggs would be a tank.
Uh, I would probably rate him at like a fucking like a C. Then,
C in magic.
yeah,
If we're going tank for Skags, then I'm giving you at least a B. Because the wrestling aspect. Not that I've really seen anybody wrestling in that show. Everybody's always using a weapon, but could you imagine running in and homie's like, "Oh, dodged a sword, grabbed your ass, slammed you on the ground."
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Chris, I would probably give Chris like something that's like a almost like a how would you say it? Like a sensory like power. Like
Yeah.
notices more things. Like he's vigilant. A lot
Isn't
more
wasn't that
vigilant.
his? Wasn't that Sun Wu's power, or however you say
Uh
his name?
no, not necessarily. He just became
A
so
bunch of
fucking
different
strong.
fucking shit.
He just
Well, like
became
his original power, I thought was like being perceptive.
oh, like when he
That was
was
like
E
the first.
rank.
It was like the
Yes.
first thing that he unlocked once he
Oh,
uh
I always just
started
took it.
leveling.
I always
arose or whatever.
I always just took it as he was so fucking scared that he just noticed everything because he was sitting in the corner going ah.
I assumed you probably would have related me to the guy that works for the company, and he's hired to
The
kill
sneaky
somebody.
guy.
The assassin guy that
Yes, that's
tries
almost.
to
That's what
fight
I was gonna
Sunwoo.
say.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I figured I would be related to. Skags reminds me of there's a tank. They're in the snow area. They fight
Yeah.
like the snow elves, or whatever. There's
You're gonna give me
a
that
tank.
fucking pleb, that douchebag.
I'm like his skill set, not him specific. His skill set, the stuff he's able to do as a tank is what I would give you.
Fair enough.
But I
He
definitely
was
say,
he was A rank, so I'll take that.
but
Oh, he
just
was A rank.
something interesting I thought about. I'd figure out to mention. A big thing for the show too is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, um, remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it, and we obviously know the troubles that Bam Margera has had for alcoholism and stuff ever since Ryan Dunn passed away or whatever. So to hear about Tony Hawk refusing to not have Bam Margera in this game, and when they showed Bam Margera on the screen, they were even playing CKY.
Oh
Was
wow.
was fucking cool. So you see Bam, as soon as you see Bam, boom, the CKY music hits. So it was awesome. I will definitely be playing Tony Hawk. There is a demo, I believe. So I don't know if it's still going on, but there is a demo, so you can play it. Gears Reloaded. Everybody that's bought the Gears of War Ultimate Edition digital version gets a free upgrade to Gears Reloaded. So it'll be cool. It'll be the first time we get to play with PlayStation and PC people. So Gears Revival, we'll see how long that lasts. Um, Persona 4 Revival, another Persona remake. I know a lot of people aren't turn based people, however, I am. So I might jump into this. I've never played any Persona game but Persona 5 Royale, and I like that game. Sea of Thieves Smuggler's Tide. No, Sea of Thieves DLC. It's pretty much what you think. Another game that got a big pop was Invincible Versus. I don't know anything about the Invincible stuff, but I know the Iron Lords that I was with, King David, Cognito, Khalif Adams. A lot of people that were slightly older than me really cheered when this game came on. It's a fighter, beat 'em up, 3v3 style game. We're super excited for this. Game of the show, or the thing that got the biggest cheer, people jumping out of their seats, is when Final Fantasy VII Remake popped up on the screen. It said, it was predicated by, you don't have to wait much longer. And as soon as it popped that up on the screen, I automatically knew it was going to be Final Fantasy. And I've been saying for a long time I assumed Final Fantasy was going to be at this show. And everybody jumped up out of their seats. There's Aaron Greenberg posted a video each time, like there was a loud ass reaction, which was pretty much for the whole show. People jump up out of their seats, people getting out their phones, recording videos, talking shit to their friends that didn't think it was going to be there. And then in the midst of everybody cheering and doing their thing, it starts playing Final Fantasy 16, and everybody gets even louder. So to see that in person was really cool. Big Final Fantasy fan myself. 16 gets a lot of flack for being more Devil May Cry like, but I played the demo, gave my impressions of the demo on PlayStation, so I'll be playing 16 at some point. And then unfortunately, they ended the show with Call of Duty. I don't have a problem with Call of Duty games, but I wouldn't assume they would have ended the show with Black Ops 7. Look cool. It'll be interesting to see. But what do you guys think about these shows overall?
I mean, for the most part, they seem pretty cool. I whenever it comes to the Final Fantasy and the way that they've started to change how the combat and everything is, I like the way that they've gone more than how it used to be because I will take something actiony over turn based. I think
Which
the
tends to be. You guys aren't young, obviously, but it tends to be like the younger generation or the next generation people. They prefer the fast-paced action RPG. It's why Baldur's Gate 3, absolutely amazing game, one of the best games in the history of gaming. A lot of people they love the story, love everything about it, and they say if it wasn't turn-based. So I get exactly what you mean. Um, the younger population they prefer the hack and slash action style games over turn-based for sure.
yeah. I and the other thing is like you can slow down the combat a little bit too, and that's perfectly fine. Like I don't remember what Final Fantasy what it was. It's the one with Nodus or not
Noctis
Noctis. That
15.
that was the first one that I actually sat down and played quite a bit of
The
because
boy band Final Fantasy game. It was
yes,
good.
yeah, and I liked all the homies. I liked all the homies that were in that game. Like I like the big beefy boy. I like the little fucking scrawny nerdy dude, and Nodus was pretty cool. And fucking, I don't know. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. The combat was fun, but I like the way that Final Fantasy is gone with their combat more than how it used to be. Like I just watched the Final Fantasy 16 trailer, and I think I might actually give this one a go because I like the combat way more. And Final Fantasy, I've always loved to watch it because I love the designs and the characters and everything. But it's just been the turn based that kept me away.
When it comes to what it is, there's multiple reasons why I prefer turn-based over like the free action stuff. Final Fantasy 12 is one of my least favorite ones because that was the first one that kind of went away from the turn-based. Um, I don't know if it's because I like to think methodically, plan out whatever, but I like to obviously the way if they did it the way Final Fantasy VII Remake does it, where you can kind of slow down time, be able to go through, select what you want to do, stuff like that. You can kind of still plan out what you want to do, but I like to be able to plan ahead of time and not have to mash buttons or whatever necessarily. It's difficult to explain, but I'm definitely don't mind playing. I played Final Fantasy 15 a decent amount. I played 16, like I said, the demo, so I definitely don't mind them per se. But to be able to plan out my turn or my methodical actions of what I want to do, um, and like Final Fantasy 12 specifically, I didn't like having to do all the gambit systems for everybody else. I like to I like to be able to control all my characters, make my characters do what I want them to do, and you can kind of do that with the gambit system, like heal under this certain percentage, cast this spell if you're at this percent magicka, and all this different stuff. So I you can kind of do it that way, but just for me personally, it's the being able to plan out my actions and stuff like that is why I prefer turn based. And games like Baldur's Gate specifically, um, D&D is all about turn based. Baldur's Gate's not a hack and slash game per se. So like it's difficult to make Baldur's Gate a hack and slash game. Like say we're playing together and like um, we're fighting these people. We're a low health. We're not going to be able to beat this one boss. Two of us can, cast stuff, do stuff to distract these other two people, while the third one of us tries to push this person down a big fucking hole. Like that's just not something you can kind of plan out when it's the fast-paced action. But like I said, um, my impressions for the demo of Final Fantasy 16 were good. I wrote an article on it. So I know Final Fantasy 16's been on a while, but if anybody that's not played it yet, that's going to play it on Xbox, you can see my demo impressions. Great game, and I will be playing it on Xbox as soon as I have the funds, because the bank of Chris is pretty low right now. So
It's fair enough. Yeah, just got back from a big trip, so
which I need to mention. So we have our bet coming up soon with the Commander games. There's a slight chance I might not be able to buy my deck. However, I do have the Final Fantasy X pre-con coming, which is under the $100 limit. It was $80. Um, the Commanders were not in the top 100. It follows all the rules. So my question to you guys, that I have you guys together, is if I have to pivot and play the pre-con, would you guys be okay with me playing the pre-con over the Narset deck? Because I don't know if I'm going to have the. It's like $220 or whatever for all the cards. I'm sure prices have changed since, but do you care if I pivot to that if I can't get the actual Narset deck?
I don't care.
yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, it's a pre-con. I think it's around the same power level. I think the Narset's actually a better deck, to be honest, for what it can do. But
Yeah.
the Titus deck, Final Fantasy X, my favorite Final Fantasy, which I'll probably be using Yuna as the commander. We'll see what happens. But it's got Titus and it's Bant. So, but I just wanted to get that okayed. There's still a chance I might be able to get it, but like I said, big trip, and the funds are a little bit lower than possible. But I'm still going to try to get the Narset stuff. But I want to make sure we okayed it on the podcast live. Well, we're not live, but on the podcast, so that people watching will know that if I needed to pivot to the pre-con, I can pivot to the pre-con.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool with me.
ain't nobody gonna be a stickler or anything like that. But yeah, no, fucking sounds like it was. There's a lot of good games coming up, and I am happy about that because I've definitely felt like it's been a little bit of a lull for a minute to where there hasn't been a whole lot of games that I've necessarily enjoyed outside of like Monster Hunter. And then
I'm the
like
opposite. I feel like there's so obviously I play I'm into a lot more genres than you guys. Like, because obviously you guys aren't a big turn-based fans, but like Expedition 33 came out, and like every now and then I need a break because having to parry and dodge and all that stuff. And I think my Xbox controllers are going bad because I've had them since the system came out, so I probably need a new Xbox controller. But taking a break to play Oblivion remake, and then I still have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth I need to play. I bought Tactics Ogre Reborn when I got my PS5. I never finished that. Um, they just put they just put Metaphor ReFantazio in Game Pass. I need to play that. I have $25 Xbox credit. There's games on my wish list I need to buy. So there's we talked about playing Fallout 76 together. So there's a lot of shit for me per se. So like I sit on the couch. Like the other night, I was sitting on the couch. My girlfriend was on the other couch, and just sitting there thinking like what to play. So I put on Expedition 33 for a minute. Tried to fight this boss that I had no business fighting. It'd be like if Gags fought a 2-year-old. That's kind of how it'd be. Just beat my ass. So I fought this boss. I'm like, I'm not feeling Expedition. So I fucking flipped on Elder Scrolls Remake for a minute. And then I'm like, I don't feel like playing this right now either. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just watch Paramount Plus. And sometimes it's like that. Like I got so many games, I don't know what to pick. And like
that's
it's
how it
not like the
was.
game.
That's how it
It's not like
was
the
my
games are
last
bad.
stream.
I just get like overwhelmed. Like I personally, if I was consistently streaming, I would love to do Pokemon battles all the time, but I would get tired of doing the same old Pokemon stuff. And then I'd be like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? And like, there's just so much shit. Smite, I was a big Smite streamer when I played a lot of Smite. Elder Scrolls Online is a big thing, but a lot of people I play with are taking a break right now because the
I'll be right
PvP
back.
that we enjoy, PvP that we enjoy, which is it's a faction-based PvP. There's 3 factions. There are keeps and outposts, and you capture them, gain points based on what you hold. Each hour you get points, and whoever wins in the campaign gets the rewards. That's what happens. And the faction that I'm in, the people I play in, and I'm sure it feels the same way for the other 2 factions, but like there's a lot of stupid random people in the factions I play in, which is the Aldemary Dominion for Elder Scrolls buffs out there. And a lot of random people just piss off the people in the Daggerfall Covenant and the Ebonheart Pack. So like a lot of the times that I play, the population is extremely higher for those people. So we kind of get like a little bit of the double team, like they don't want yellow to win. And it happens a lot. So a lot of times the good people I play with take breaks. So like I don't want to play Elder Scrolls by myself. I could have played demos, but I live out in the boonies, so downloading games takes longer here than what it would somebody else. And it's like, do I want to play PlayStation?
Yep.
Do I want to play Switch? Do I want to play Xbox? Or I can even just bust out my laptop and play some Arena. So it's like, oh, recently, I don't know if they still do, but a while back they had an event on Magic the Gathering Online, which is free legacy. It was a free legacy gauntlet event, and what it is you can enter into this event. You could you get a random selection of decks. They have like I think 4 or 6 decks. You pick one of the decks. It gives you like 3 choices or whatever. It's kind of like drafting. You get to pick one of the decks. You play the deck in a best of 3 or whatever, and then you just go back and do this again, and you can do it again and again and again, and keep playing Legacy for free. Well, they recently had a vintage thing, or it's still going on where you can do that with vintage decks.
That's
So like
cool.
it's just the plethora of games available, and like there's a lot of games on my wish list I really want to play. Like there's a game called Altilier, um, the Dragon. I about to say Dragon Age. Um, fuck is it called? Uh, I'll think of it in a minute. I need to get the other Persona games, like I mentioned. Overlord. Fuck, what is the name of those games? I can't remember all the names, but games on our wish list that we have that we keep on there, hoping a sale's going to pop up. Like I got a bunch of those different games. Like there's just sometimes I just need to like roll a dice and like that be what determines what game I play. There's just too much for me to decide.
Yep.
Dragon
Yeah.
Quest. Dragon Quest for Masters. They have 3 and 4 is on my wish list. 1 and 2 Dragon Quest is coming out. And a lot of the games I enjoy are like the 40 to 100 hours JRPG games. It's going to take me a while. So, yeah.
See,
Yeah. Going through my Steam list it makes me sad sometimes because there's a lot of games that I had, like the Borderlands games. I played them all on console when I still had console, so like those sitting in my Steam library aren't that bad. But I just have tons of games that I should be playing or I should have beaten by now, and just haven't gotten back to because the next game came out or whatever it is. I'm going through it now. There's
I wrote an
Get
article
Fishing
at the
Planet,
beginning of the
dude.
year. You guys probably don't remember, but I wrote an article towards the beginning of the year before I went back to work for my vacation. It was my 2025 New Year's resolution, and I'm going to do this every year. And one of my resolutions was to beat, uh, to finish more games before I move on to something else. So that's kind of why I'm still toiling in the Elder Scrolls game. Granted, I've beat Elder Scrolls Oblivion before, but like when it comes to a game like that or Expedition, like I like to explore every nook, every cranny, every crevice, because you never know what you're gonna find. And for someone like me that explores stuff, like I've already missed stuff towards the beginning of Expedition 303. Like I missed one of the special abilities you can get or whatever called Versatile, and I got to go back in the future if I want to go get that to that area and get it. But like, I like to get every chest that I can, and I've kind of made it a habit for the past couple years of like doing that type of stuff. Like I know, and I've never played Final Fantasy X-2 more than like 30 minutes because it never like grabbed me. But I did say after Final Fantasy had their set come out, they spoiled it. I was going to go back and play 10. And 10.2, there's a way where you can Titus returns. I don't know exactly to what capacity. I've never looked at 10.2's story specifically, but Titus returns in some capacity, and I think that involves getting certain chests and stuff like that. A lot of video games have achievements where do get all this shit or get all this stuff. So that's why it usually takes me so long per se to play a game. Sometimes I like to like savor a game like Tactics Ogre Reborn. Um, a guy on Twitter that I talk to all the time. He's a big JRPG fan, turn-based fan. Like when I got this game when my PS5 first came out, he had over 350 hours into this game, and like there's just so much. Like there's obviously the main story, but then there's all the side quests. Getting this types of units like dragons and getting this types of units you can go and recruit. So like there's just so much extra stuff that's why it takes me so long to beat games specifically.
Yeah.
See, and the thing that I'm really wanting right now from a game is I want something that's like a looter game. Like I want something where I can like chase down legendaries and like stuff like that and make builds out of things, and like that's really what I'm like after.
You want a
The
new Destiny?
The Destiny style game.
Uh, New World, Destiny, I mean stuff like that. Like that's what I'm wanting. But like Destiny, I've played an assload of. New World, I've played an assload of, and I don't necessarily feel like going back to those games. Uh, I don't know. It's a weird spot for me.
Well, what about going back to? Oh my goodness, I'm going through my games right now to try to remember. Diablo.
So Diablo actually has a new season that's coming in like 6 days, and so we're at the end of one of the seasons. So it's one of those things. It's like, do I really want to hop on and start playing that right now, or just wait a little bit?
No, we play in 6 days, dude.
Yeah. Well, and that's where like I was looking at Last Epoch,
Yeah.
and thinking about that and playing that, and then I also thought about going back and replaying like Tiny Tina's or something.
Tiny Tina's would be fun. Well, we also got to remember, as soon as is fishing already live in 76?
I don't know.
Looks like it is. Just go ahead and get that installed.
As I say, I did have an update for Fallout 76 recently, but I didn't know if it was gone fishing.
I have to delete some stuff. I gotta go get more. I gotta go get more space.
Even after you plugged it in?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
assume it's live.
June 3rd, it went live.
I'm so behind.
So, I mean, I'll hop on and I'll play 76. I'm perfectly fine hopping on and doing that. I'm kind of to
Speaking
the
of
point
seven-
in that game
Go
where, like, I'm just trying to get, like, specific perks at this point, which kind of makes it a little tedious and lame, but, you know, it is what it is. But that's why, like, Last Epoch was something I was looking at pretty heavily. because it's brand new, class-based system, just like Diablo, and uh, build-centric and everything like that. Top-down looter. I don't know. It looks pretty. It looks pretty fun. That's what I was thinking about.
I will say I did hop out on Fallout 76 after it would have been before this last update, just to see what's going on. And apparently, I at least have a couple all right things. Like I have a gun. I guess that's all right. Cool sniper rifle. But I must have played at some point with somebody because I know I didn't. I didn't get the stuff that I have myself. My base is very small. It's just like this fenced in area randomly out in the on some road. So I don't have a lot. So, but I have some stuff. So
Do you remember what level you are?
higher than 16
Okay.
would be my guess. I remember something about having to be level 16 at some point a long time ago. Maybe that was to use the weapon or whatever. But off the top of my head, I do not remember.
Okay. But yeah, no, those are kind of the games that I'm like looking towards and stuff like right now. Because like Monster Hunter, I've pretty much gotten almost everything that I want, and the collaboration is an indefinite thing, so I'm in no hurry to try and get that because it's not something
Yeah.
that super interests me. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. You can just punch the shit out of a Ray Dow. It's not very good, but you can do it.
Yeah, as
So
soon as they said that it was indefinite, I was like, okay, I can take a breath. Because I
Yeah.
definitely needed to take a breath from Monster Hunter.
Nope, you need
So do you want
to.
to talk about the Naruto thing we talked about the last podcast that the fans didn't get to see?
Sure. Well,
We have a little bit of time.
let me
So
see.
for people
I
that
do
don't
still
know,
have that.
I'll let Skaggs pull it up. For people that don't know, is I wrote a Naruto article a while back ranking members of the Akatsuki outside Sasuke and any of Kakuzu's former partners because we don't have a lot of knowledge about them anyways. And based off like hold on. It is based off of the manga, the anime, the official data books, and they're ranked on based on power, beats, and strategic impact of the story. And I know Skaggs had some questions about why some of them are ranked specifically.
Yeah. So, do you need the link or anything, Q, or because I want
Yes,
to.
go ahead and send that to me.
Here, I will. I'll put it in general.
Okay.
Uh, There we go. But
You guys, I will say before we get into it, I will say Lord Addict, the youngest of the Iron Lords, also disagreed with some of the things on the list. However, I think he was solely focused on power level, so to speak, which is not what it's all about technically. But yeah,
which is most of the time where like I come from as well, but I'm trying to think of it in the way of like impact on story as well. But I think the one that I had I thought was an issue whenever you include like story impact is Zetsu, because it ends up being that Zetsu played the entirety of the Akatsuki to pretty much bring back uh who's that old raggedy bitch Can't remember.
Madara?
He is not an
Unless you're
old
talking
raggedy
about,
bitch.
you talking about Kaguya? Talking
Yeah.
about the Otsutsuki Kaguya, yeah.
Yeah. Madara is no raggedy bitch, but that she is a raggedy bitch.
Well, you said old raggedy bitch. I thought you assumed Madara first, so.
No. No, he's a
Kaguya's
homie.
impact wasn't very important for me to even remember that she's an old raggedy bitch.
But like that was he manipulated the shit out of them, and that was like why they ended up going and doing like majority of what we get to see on screen anyways. So I thought he should be higher. Juzo is right around where I thought that I would see him. Hidan is. I thought Hidan and Datara would be higher because I thought Conan was gonna be near the bottom. And Orochimaru, I don't know. I thought Orochimaru was going to be closer to the bottom as well because Orochimaru is strong, but some of these people can throw hands like no other, and I feel like they kind of take Orochimaru. Like I think Datara, just because he's a fucking idiot, loses to Orochimaru. But everybody else has got strength and some form of like hacks or actual brains to not fall for everything and be able to make it out with Orochimaru.
So to some of the stuff you've mentioned already, we'll talk about Zetsu. While I agree that Zetsu had a big thing in manipulation throughout the whole Akatsuki to lead ultimately to betraying Madara to bring back Kaguya for the Infinite Tsukiyomi or whatever. To me, specifically, that's all that Zetsu had. We never actually get to see Zetsu fight. He might be able to throw hands or something like that. That's not something that we have knowledge of. To some of his abilities, like just going out through the history, like Zetsu's a big thing for what did I call it? Historical manipulation is the term that I use. He's a big historical figure. There's a big fucking Zetsu army underground that they find later on. And so he didn't. If we actually got to see Zetsu fight, Zetsu might be higher than a lot of these people, to be honest. But for me, the strategical impact on the story is the only thing that Zetsu has.
See, I just feel like he's min-maxed into that so much that he should outrank some of these people.
And I put Juzu higher than Zetsu specifically because Juzu was one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Hidden Mist. Juzu and Juzo, I don't know why I'm saying Juzu. Juzo was Itachi's one of Itachi's partners, and there's a big fight between Yagura, the three-tailed Jinchuriki, and the 4th Mizukage, which was a fucking knockdown, drag-out battle. That's obvious. It's also where Juzo ended up. I believe that's the fight that he ended up dying in, but he also fought against some other people as well. But the notable fight is Yagura and the 4th Mizukage. And I feel while his strategical impact wasn't as massive as Zetsu, we actually get to see him fight. We have more background about him specifically, so that's why I rank him higher. But even the last time we talked about this, I said they were interchangeable. I said I would be fine swapping Zetsu with Juzo, but I did place Juzo higher. Hidan has no strategical impact on the story outside killing Asuma. If Hidan did not kill Asuma to give Shikamaru the will of fire, which that's what Asuma was all about, was passing on his will of fire. And I believe the 3rd Hokage was all about the will of fire as well too. So it kind of runs in the family. They're related. But the only thing that Hidan really does is kill Asuma, and then he ends up. He doesn't technically die to Shikamaru. Shikamaru beats him, buries his head, and while Hidan is technically immortal, his body is not. So if you don't get some type of sustenance or nourishment, the hole that Shikamaru buried Hidan's head in is
That's
He
his
don't would have
grave.
died. He's
He
fucking
he
dead.
technically killed him. I mean, just like an old mobster would be uh, jailed for murder for burying somebody alive. That's a kill on Shikamaru's KD.
Datara, um, he his biggest strategic impact on the story was the fact that he defeated Gaara solo. And the reason he defeated Gaara was because they were fighting over the Sand Village. Obviously, being a Kage, the village is your family. Your goal as the Kage of whatever village is to protect the village. So he defeated a handicapped Gaara. And while I'm not going to take the fact that he was able to defeat Gaara away from him, because Gaara was still the one-tailed Jinchuriki at the time, because that's when the Katsu was going around capturing all the Jinchurikis. Gaara was fighting with the handicapped, but Daedra did kind of in quotations, go toe to toe with Sasuke for a minute, when ultimately he ended up sacrificing himself with his C0 or CO ultimate suicide bomb, which was meant to kill everything, Sasuke, surrounding area, everything. I don't feel Daedra's impact is as big as Conan or Sasori. Sasori, sorry. Because Conan, she was one of the orphans that Jiraiya taught. She was also Nagato, Pain. We talked about this last time. I cannot ever remember the third orphan. Can't remember his fucking name.
Oh
But
yeah, last time I found that.
she was able to ambush Obito to the point to where Obito had to use one of the overpowered Sharingan jutsus known as Izanage, which is a forbidden technique, just to prevent Conan from whooping his ass. And if you're going to fight Obito, which we know is number one on my list, and you're going to um, almost defeat him in battle, that means a lot. And without her being by Nagato's side, there's a chance we don't have the Akatsuki. Because even though Zetsu was, pulling the strings like a marionette puppet master behind the scenes, Pain is Nagato, that we find out later on. Nagato or Pain is the quote unquote facial focal point leader of the Akatsuki. And Conan's kind of the second command. And like all these techniques that she has, paper style, paper ocean, the paper clone technique is almost, and like I don't know everything about Naruto lore, but I think are almost exclusively Conan. So I don't know if there's other people that have these techniques or not. And then Kakuzu, and then I'll mention Kakuzu, and then I'll let you go through the second half of the list. Kakuzu was interesting to rank because I didn't really know where to rank him, but I felt he was more important than the others. He's semi-immortal, while not as immortal as Hedon. Kakuzu is the type of ninja that his village sent out to try to assassinate the first Hokage. Granted, you ain't assassinating the first Hokage. This is not happening. That's ultimately why he got labeled, kicked out of his village, labeled rogue ninja, or whatever. But just possessing the multiple hearts, he was able to battle Naruto, Yamato, and Kakashi simultaneously. While we all knew ultimately he'd be defeated, just to be able to fight three people of the caliber of those specific ninja. This is Kakashi with the Sharingan. Naruto had the Rasen Shuriken at this time, and we all know how important Yamato is for wood style and all that stuff of protecting people from tail beasts and stuff like that. So his power level is extremely high. He had minor strategic impact. A lot of it's kind of historically before the happenings of Naruto. And then next is Sasori, but I'll let you talk about the second half.
The thing I will fight with you on Conan about her being like strong or anything is she is a one trick pony, and that the only thing that she really has that can take care of anybody of any sort of like power level is the paper ocean. Other than that, I don't think she has the strength to take on anybody and of any note and come out on top unless she uses that paper ocean. And as
Do
soon as
you
she
do
uses
you
that,
think that Hedon is a one trick pony?
uh,
Because all
Hedon,
he has
Hedon is
is the thing where
absolutely
he.
a one trick pony.
I was gonna say because all he has is the thing where he kills him. I forget exactly
But
what the jutsu is called.
he also has the skills to be able to take people out. Like his one trick is a utility trick. Hers is like, this is what I can do to win this fight. His is more of like, if you think of it in like archetypes of like maybe like magic or something, like she's a combo player and he's a control player. And that he's removing the ability for you to win the fight, and he's just going to beat you down with everything else with his actual skill, and he can outskill a lot of other people. But um but Conan is very much like gets outskilled and then resorts to paper ocean, and then it granted it is a insanely strong jutsu, but if it doesn't work, somebody just hits a substitute jutsu out of that and is somewhere else, lets her go on and on and on and on. They just finish her as soon as it's done. She's so tired and exhausted afterwards. She's
Something to remember. Something to remember. And I don't know how much this affects her combat prowess, so to speak, is her her master was one of the legendary Sanis. It's
hey,
like
you can have
I
a
believe
great master, and it's
I believe she has to have some combat prowess.
I'm not saying she has none, but I'm saying whenever you put her up towards like you put her up with the like higher tier people, like the Akatsuki, and like we're starting to put her near like A and S rank ninja. Like she's not so good. She's sitting at like a lower A tier. It's kind of like Mike Guy's dad, and where like, yeah, no, homie was legendary because he wiped out an entire like uh team of high ranking ninja, but he had to he had to drop everything in order to do that. And I don't know. It's I've just never had a very high opinion on Conan
And
myself.
that's fine. All right,
Um
so Sasori down.
I'll kind of give you Sasori being there because he had he had a decent little impact, and they did my boy dirty by letting Sakura kill him. But uh he was strong as shit. Like he just and very very strong. Orochimaru, I don't I don't necessarily know if I'm putting Orochimaru up as high as what I am. Like he has a lot of like impact on story. Whenever he's in the Akatsuki, I don't know if I'm giving him as much impact in the story because at that point it's all about the Akatsuki, and Orochimaru is just kind of a footnote. It feels like, but he is. I mean, he's Kage level at the very least. But
Something to
I
also note about Orochimaru specifically is at this level, at this time that he is in the Akatsuki, um, he has at this point he's curse marked the people that we know about. The red haired dude. Um, he has uh, turned Kabuto against Sasori. Kabuto was a double agent, so to speak. Actually, I guess he's a triple agent because he was working for Sasori, who was working for. Yeah, you get the point. Um, he has already discovered his immortality jutsu, where he transfers bodies. At this point, it's known that he already knows reanimation jutsu. Um, and strategic impact on the story for all the characters, I take that kind of past the Akatsuki, which is why uh, Obito obviously plays out and like towards the end of the story because he fights with Kakashi and all this other stuff. So strategic impact I take past the Akatsuki, but like the overall power level, so to speak, is the time in the Akatsuki. I will say he did try to kill Itachi twice and failed when he was in the Akatsuki. But
most
it's
people would fail.
if I were to take Orochimaru overall, like where he's at, he would probably be higher on the list. I'm not gonna lie. But
Really?
where he was at that time in the Akatsuki, power level, abilities and stuff like that. Obviously in Boruto area, Orochimaru is a whole new beast. We don't know what Orochimaru has learned over the years. Naruto lets Orochimaru roam free because of what he can provide for Naruto to help save the world. Like that's why Orochimaru isn't in prison, isn't dead. It's because he is a valuable asset to protect the world. So if it was overall Orochimaru, he'd probably be higher,
Yeah.
just for some of the stuff he does. Like I don't think he outpaces like Itachi, Nagato, or Pain. I mean Nagato or Obito, but I'd definitely probably put him above Hedon for sure. But like I said, power level of Orochimaru at the time of the Katsuki, overall impact on the story is everybody's entirety. Otherwise, I wouldn't have I wouldn't included like Kakuzu trying to fight the first Hokage, stuff like that.
I think I think in a head to head, Kakazu and Sasori both beat Orochimaru. I have no doubts in that. With how slow it is for Orochimaru to be able to uh like summon, like do the forbidden technique and like bring the first and the second Hokage and like all these people back to life. I don't think that Sasori or Kakazu lets that happen. And I think he gets blitzed by an army of puppets, or he gets blitzed by Kakazu, which just, I mean, yeah, he lost to the first Hokage, but I mean, that's the first
The first
Hokage.
Hokage.
Yeah,
Um,
I will take somebody that lost to the first Hokage over somebody who barely tied with the third Hokage. I mean,
I don't even think that he tied. The third Hokage sacrificed himself, so I mean, I guess technically you can call it a tie. One thing I will say about Orochimaru is that like his I don't know everything that he knew at that time, which is why I have only some of them listed. But fighting Kakusu or Sasori 101, it just depends. I think on depends on like how he goes about the battle. Like if he can use a jutsu, whether he is summoning jutsu and summons Manda, the giant snake, or it's hard to name what jutsu he has at the time. Like he has a lot of strategic things he could do to potentially buy time if he was going for reanimation jutsu. Do you think that Kakasu and Sasori could beat the four-tailed nine fox, four-tailed Naruto and the Jinchuriki form that almost killed Jiraiya? Do you think they could contend with four-tailed Naruto or whatever?
Um, like, are we saying as a team or like
No, 1-on-1, because I
separately?
assumed the Sasori fighting Orochimaru and the Kakazu fighting Orochimaru was 1-on-1.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think any of them make it out unscathed, but yes, I do think that they make it out of there.
Because Orochimaru did contend. He was not unscathed, just like you did mention, but he was able to keep up and not die. Ultimately, the fight ended up being a stalemate or something because if you remember right, Naruto accidentally like hit Sakura or something like that. Yamato did wood style, and you know, go watch the anime for the people watching at home. But I, it's difficult to say. I can see the points that you're making. If Orochimaru doesn't get the time to use all the special forbidden techniques that he does have, it is extremely difficult for him.
Yeah,
The rest
and
of the list, I believe we agree with.
yeah, Kisame at number 4, Nagato at 3, Itachi at 2, Nobito at 1. I mean, yeah, that makes complete sense for me. Yeah, I mean, on storyline alone, like I think that the top 4 make a whole lot of sense. And
I know a lot of people probably would have put Nagato higher, but there's multiple reasons. Like I said, it's not just power level, but there's multiple reasons why he's not. Addict, which is one of the Iron Lords I mentioned, which uh, he also had some disagreements about the list. He felt Nagato was the highest, but we just agreed to disagree. He had some good points,
if we want
but
to talk purely off of like power level, I could entertain the idea. I mean, it would definitely be between uh Obito and Pain at that point because fucking Itachi was so sick at that time that I don't know if he can necessarily contend with everybody. Now, Obito versus or Itachi versus Nagato, if Itachi knows where Nagato's at, then I think Itachi wins because homie will just go right in there to Nagato and end Nagato himself.
do you think? Do you think if Jiraiya? I wrote an article a long time ago about if Jiraiya had prior knowledge about when he went into the Hidden Rain, and he had prior knowledge about Pain. Um, do you think Jiraiya could have beat Pain?
No, I don't think he beats him, but I think he can make it out. I think he makes it out alive.
Because
He's
without any knowledge, he defeated at the time three paths, but ultimately they got revived, obviously, because he didn't kill the revival path or whatever. But he did, without any knowledge, defeat three of them.
yeah. No, I don't think he beats Pain, but I think he can end up making it out alive if he knew everything about Pain already. But I mean, Jiraiya's sacrifice was a necessary thing for the storyline and was a great moment. But I love my boy Jiraiya.
And like, I have Itachi just higher than Pain, because while all three of the final three have impact on the story, um, Itachi's impact goes even beyond uh, his strategic impact goes from youngest prodigy ninja, He was youngest member of Anbu, I think, until Kakashi, maybe. I can't remember. But he killed his family, shadowed the entire village throughout the whole story to protect Sasuke, and keep fucking Danzo in check, make sure Danzo's not doing any dumb Danzo shit. And then just throughout the whole Akatsuki, he defeated Orochimaru twice. I forget who that I would have to find out who, but Orochimaru did say about some not Orochimaru. I'll think of it in a minute. But even to the pass of like reanimation jutsu, like when Itachi and the whole Akatsuki got reanimated by Kabuto, um, he had casted a jutsu a long time ago, I guess, on Naruto. Kodo Masukami, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And like, if you remember, the crow comes out of like Naruto's mouth or whatever, and like just everything ultimately leading into telling Sasuke the whole story at the right time to bring Sasuke back from his path of vengeance gets Sasuke higher than Pain. Pain, obviously, focal point of the Akatsuki, like the proclaimed leader by Toby, essentially. Pain's biggest strategic impact is obviously it's killing Jiraiya so Naruto can progress, have that character progression, and then destroying the leaf. And like, he technically killed a bunch of people. He killed Kakashi. Obviously, Nagato ended up casting Rini Rebirth, the access to the Rinnegan, all that stuff. So I don't think Pain's impact is as big as Itachi. And then obviously, what's there to say about Obito? Um, Obviously,
He straight up
young
starts the
Obito's
last
not
war.
important.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Obito's not important as a kid, to be honest. Till he dies, he gives Kakashi the Sharingan. At age 16, Obito goes back, attacks the Hidden Leaf Village with he unleashes the nine-tailed fox when he attacks the Leaf Village, because that's when they're trying to uh, that's when Kushina's giving birth to Naruto. So the seal on the Nine Tails is weak. The Nine Tail escapes. Fourth Hokage has to seal the Nine Tails, half inside him, half inside Naruto. Obito goes on, trains under Madara. Obviously, we know how it turns out. Becomes this badass guy. Um, Ultimate goal to revive Madara. He succeeds. Their goal is the Infinite Tsukiyomi. The fight between Obito and Kakashi, while rather short, is one of the biggest touted fights of Naruto. It's not my favorite fight, but it's one of the biggest touted fights. Gives Kakashi the second Sharingan. So for a brief moment in time before Madara takes it, no, he gave Kakashi double Sharingan for a while so he could do the Kamui and all that stuff. And then when he loses access to the second Sharingan, he has a single Sharingan, Madara takes it, whatever. Just Obito's overall impact, everything is strategically, I think, the biggest of everybody else's. He's very fucking strong. And I believe Obito and Itachi kind of speak for themselves. Pain's a little more difficult. I can see people putting Pain or Nagato higher based on certain things, but yeah. I think we kind of agree on the bottom of the list outside Orochimaru specifically. I wish Q was back so we can get Q's thoughts, but
well,
computer issue.
yeah, he's having computer issues, so I mean, this is a little look into a good bit of what the Lost episode is. So
Yeah. And I did mention during the Lost episode, and I'll mention it now just so people know, in the future, there will be a couple more lists. We talked about it. you want me to do tournament arcs, which is going to take a long while because I have to watch a lot. I'm sure that after I write this, there's going to be tournament arcs, animes I still haven't watched, but there'll be a top. I might do top 10. That way I could squeeze more in, but there'll be a top 10 tournament arc. There will be a Konoha 12 ranking for like Naruto, Kiba, Sasuke, Sakura, stuff like that. And then like I'm gonna do the previous generation, so like Inojin, Shikamaru's dad, Choji's dad.
Might Guy, Kakashi.
Yeah, those types of people. But those are the future Naruto articles. I don't want to dive into Boruto yet because we just finished I think the Two Blue Vortex manga just wrapped up, and we have a lot more to digest. So there will be no Boruto stuff for a long while, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
But
definitely wanted to dive back in to get your thoughts out to the people because obviously we talk a lot about the articles, and anime is a big part of the show. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I think that might be a good spot to end it. And yeah, unfortunately, for the past 20 minutes or so, Q's computer decided that was a good time to end the podcast for him. So, but either way, been a good episode and a lot of fun talks about games and anime and everything. So, yeah, this has been the Dodgy Yeti and Chris Jones, Boy Hours Podcast. Have a good day. See you.